Good afternoon, honorable judges. In the teaching of the text, The Exadial Age, my focus is to use contradictions in narrative writing. My target students are first-year non-English majors. Real classroom and digital teaching platform are combined in teaching process. Besides textbooks, more online information will be used and provided to students. According to the topic and teaching objectives, teacher designs tasks for students to master related language and skills, on the basis of which students complete a comprehensive project. So, the teaching model is mostly based on tasks and the project. Teaching objectives consist of language, skill, and value objectives. In the pre-class survey, questions about students' value situations are designed, and the achievement of value objectives will be reflected during the assessment process. Hopefully, with the learning of this class, as for language and skill objectives, students will master related expressions in the learned texts and write a gripping narrative with appropriate contradictions. Regarding the value objectives, students will realize significance of the community with a shared future for mankind, and be willing to believe in warmth in social life and care for others. This class can be mainly divided into 3 parts: text analysis, further reading, exercise, and assignment. In the first part, students are supposed to understand the contradictions in a text. Then, know the significance and methods of using contradictions in narrative writing in the second part. Lastly, in exercise and assignment, use appropriate contradictions to write a gripping narrative. In the first part, 2 contradictions in the text are presented. My father told my mom, we must hold on to hope, not because hope is real, but because we have to live up to nobility. In a pre-solar age, nobility meant money, power, or talent. But now, one must only hold to hope. Hope is the gold and the jewels of this age. No matter how long we live, we must hold fast to it. These words show the conflict between people's hope and the natural disaster. It demonstrates the philosophical thinking of mankind in the face of human catastrophe. In a conversation between Ling and I, we can see the contradiction of their different views. The contradictions and conflicts in a novel can be fascinating and create distinct characters. In the second part, 3 pieces of reading materials are introduced to further analyze contradictions. For example, in the movie The Wandering Earth, the 6 major contradictions interact with each other, pushing the Earth into a wandering orbit. The 6 contradictions include: does mankind survive or destroy? Who will take Liu Qi into the dungeon? Individual interests or collective interests? Whether or not to obey the organizational arrangement. Escape or persist. Wander or go home. The reversal of the opposite contradiction further expands the emotional impact after the tension. The novel is inseparable from the plot. The plot is inseparable from contradictions and conflicts. It is not only the driving force for the development of the plot, but also the basis for the formation of the character's personality. In the third part, students are asked to add a contradiction into a passage, and a reference version will be presented. Then, after class, to complete a whole story with a certain title. Also, references are provided. In the exodial age, the threat of death and the desire to escape overwhelm everything, and nothing can really attract their attention and move them except the current state of the sun and the position of the earth. Human nature is revealed. Human beings gradually abandon the so-called ethics and morality, and then pursue a glimmer of hope for survival. However, at the end of the movie, in order to allow more people to survive, Liu Qi's father, Liu Peiqiang, finally chose to fly his own spaceship as the tipping point to Jupiter, and finally created a huge thrust on the surface of Mars by detonating Mars, keeping the Earth away from Jupiter and flying to distant space. It can be seen that, in the case of science, the ethical affection in the world is the ultimate magic weapon to save the Earth and mankind. So during the class, value cultivation is emphasized, including the future of the planet Earth and the concept of a community with a shared future for mankind. That's all. Thanks.